I've been dealing with clients who want to introduce AI in their finance department. Okay, so it's a real deep dive into a use case. In the technical world, it's called anomaly detection. In finance, it's fraud detection. And we all understand that standard patterns of behavior, which is normal, and this pattern of behavior is really moving in directions where it's an anomaly, but they will regard it as fraud. In any form whatsoever, if you detect fraud automatically, it's something beneficial to the organization. But if it's not in my KPI, your framework should say it shouldn't be done. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Suppose it's in the KPI, it should be done, but the fraud detection requires certain hardware infrastructure, data to be in certain form, plus the data to exist in these necessary fields. Now, the CapEx there is high. Well, how will your framework help me resolve that?
So it's a very, very good question. The first point to make here is to understand the nature of the problem. So for example, in big organizations, fraud can go into the millions of dollars.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So there it makes perfect sense to dwell on that particular problem to understand what's the magnitude of the fraud, how does it come about, what are the different systems, processes, people that are being used in the process, what is the data, and so forth. Once you're able to actually identify that, then you can do a small pilot, a very small pilot to actually demonstrate. And perhaps you don't need to use generative AI. You can use machine learning or mixture of generative AI and machine learning to actually solve this particular problem, whereby outliers are identified. They are then flagged. Perhaps generative AI can be used then to create a report that goes to a financial controller who can then flag it and say, look, this is a serious fraud that has happened. It's cost the company this much. And perhaps what we need to do is to take action, could be against our suppliers, partners, vendors, employees, whatever it may be. So the point I'm making here is always important to understand the scope. In most organizations, the scope for fraud detection is not really there. And what I mean by that is the volume of transactions are not there. So when you have a pilot and it comes to scaling that pilot, the business case doesn't stand up because the use of GPUs, if you want to have it on premise, is quite high for that particular use case. So one has to look at all of these factors, and the framework actually helps in this. I also do ROI calculators that help organizations look at before they even want to go towards a pilot, it gives them a very quick, you can say, estimate of what the ROI is going to be over maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Or what it can do is that maybe 1 or 2 use cases, because they're using GPUs quite heavily, the ROI is not there. But perhaps if there's 5, 6, 7, 8 use cases in, let's say, the financial department that can use the infrastructure and it's profitable, then why not? Why not go ahead and do it?